Tonight we're actually going to move away from our number lines and just subtract integers using our rules. Here's our objective tonight. I can subtract integers by knowing that subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. The opposite meaning instead of subtracting, you're going to add the additive inverse. Rules for subtracting integers. So here I have -4 minus a +2. The first step is to rewrite the subtraction statement as an addition statement. That's always your first step. Subtracting an integer is the same as adding the opposite or the additive inverse. So if we have 4 minus a +2, we need to rewrite that as, if we have -4 minus a +2, we need to rewrite that as -4. The first number stays the same. We need to change our subtraction to addition, and we need to add on the opposite of the number being subtracted. That's how we handle subtraction of integers. So just rewrite our subtraction statement as an addition statement. So you change all subtraction to addition, and you change the sign of the number being subtracted. -4 minus 2 is the same as -4 plus a -2. And we've worked for a few nights with the number lines showing that. Now we're just going to strictly stick to the rules. Rewrite our subtraction as an addition statement, and then we'll be able to use the rules for addition. In order to make sure that you get comfortable rewriting subtraction statements as addition, I'd like you to practice these 3. I'd like you to take each of the following statements and rewrite them as an addition statement. Keep in mind, you change your subtraction to addition, and you change the sign of the number being subtracted. So take a minute, pause the video, try that out, come on back. All right, hopefully for the first one, you did change subtraction to addition and change the sign of the number being subtracted. We're going to practice rewriting subtraction as addition. So -4 minus a -2 is the same as -4 plus a +2. 3 minus 7 will end up changing subtraction to addition, changing this +7 to a -7. So that becomes 3 plus a -7. 3 minus 7 is the same as 3 plus a -7. And what's -4 minus a -5? Change your subtraction to addition, take the opposite of the number that had been subtracted. So -4 minus a -5 becomes -4 plus a +5. Rules for subtracting integers. We're going to solve the subtraction of integers using rules. Let's look at the following examples. So the first step is to always take the subtraction statement you're given and rewrite it as an addition statement. So minus a negative, change your subtraction to addition, change the sign of the number being subtracted. So the first number always just stays the same. You're going to notice that first number just stays the same. Subtraction changes to addition, and the sign of the number being subtracted must change. Once the subtraction statement has been rewritten as an addition statement, we use the rules for addition of integers. So -4 minus a -2 is the same as -4 plus a +2. Let's recall our rules for adding integers. Circle the sign that goes with the number. So now we're dealing with -4 plus a +2. And then you ask yourself, once you've circled the sign that goes with the number, are those signs the same or are those signs different? Well, that's a negative. That's a positive. Those signs are different. We're going to find the difference. We'll subtract. So off to the side, I usually do my 4 minus 2. What's 4 minus 2? That's 2. What's the difference between 4 minus 2? 4 minus 2 is 2. Are there more positives or more negatives? So we always look and we say, okay, there's four negatives and there's only 2 positives. So what do we have more of? We definitely have more negatives. Positive and a negative zero each other out. Negative and a positive, those zero each other out. So we're left with 2 negatives. Are there more positives or more negatives? There's 4 negatives and 2 positives, so there's more negatives. So your answer is going to be negative. So what's the result here? The result here is a -2. So the only new step tonight is to rewrite your subtraction statement as an addition statement. Then you completely fall back on your rules for adding integers. We will do this for the rest of our lives. These rules will work for the rest of our lives when we're dealing with adding or subtracting signed numbers. Evaluate the expression below. Remember to rewrite your subtraction statement as addition. So instead of -4 minus 2, we change our subtraction to addition, and we change the sign of the number being subtracted. That first number, that -4, remained the same. As soon as we have this written as an addition statement, we're going to circle the sign that goes with the number. The sign is what's right in front of that number. So our first number is -4, the second number is -2. You're going to ask yourself, are those signs the same or are those signs different? Well, if I look, they're both negative. The signs are the same, I'm going to find the sum. So off to the side, I could find the sum. 4 plus 2, sum means to add. So we know our answer is going to involve a 6. What's the sum of 4 and 2? The sum of 4 and 2 is 6. Are there more positives or more negatives? Well, let's take a look. Here I have 4 negatives. Here I have 2 negatives. Hey, there's only negatives. There's only negatives, so your answer must be negative. -4 plus -2 is actually a -6. 4 plus 2 is 6. We've got more negatives. We only have negatives. The result will be negative. Let's practice some. Evaluate the following expressions using your integer rules. If you'd like, pause the video, try these out, and then come on back and see what I did. All right, hopefully you paused the video. So the first step always is to rewrite our subtraction statement as an addition statement. So 3 minus a -4, we change our subtraction to addition. We change the sign of the number being subtracted. So that becomes 3 plus a +4. There's no sign in front of the 3. I know to assume it's positive. Circle the sign that goes with the number. That's the sign right in front of each number. Signs are the same. They're both positive. I find the sum. The sum of 3 and 4 is 7. What do I have more of? Well, I have 3 positives. And I have 4 more positives. Hey, I only have positives. My answer is guaranteed to be a +7. Take a look at the second one. You need to change the subtraction statement to an addition statement, and then we fall back on our rules for addition. So how do we change our subtraction statement to an addition statement? We change subtraction to addition, and we change the sign of the number being subtracted. So this actually becomes -5 plus a -2. Circle the sign that goes with the number. Are those signs the same or are those signs different? Signs are the same. I'm going to find the sum. 5 and 2 is 7. Then I have to ask myself, what do I have more of? Well, let's see. I have 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 2 more negatives. Hey, I only have negatives. My result must be negative. Take a look at the next one. Change all subtraction statements to addition. So I changed this subtraction to addition, and I changed the sign of the number being subtracted. -3 plus a -7. Circle the sign that goes with the number. That's the sign right in front of the number. Are those signs the same or are those signs different? Signs are the same. They're both negative. I find the sum. The sum of 3 and 7 is 10. What do I have more of? Well, I have 3 negatives here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negatives here. Hey, I only have negatives. My result must be negative. Let's take a look at the next example. Again, we're going to change our subtraction statement to addition. We're going to change the sign of the number being subtracted. So this is -4 plus a +6. Always at that point. Circle the sign that goes with the number. Are those signs the same or are those signs different? Signs are different this time. That's a negative, that's a positive. Signs are different, I find the difference. So off to the side, I do 6 minus 4 is 2. And then I have to decide what I have more of. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positives. I definitely have more positives. 4 negatives, 4 positives. Bye-bye. How many extra positives do I have? I have 2 extra positives. Because I had more positives, my result will be positive. Positive 2 is the answer for that one. Last one. Take your subtraction statement. Change subtraction to addition. Change the sign of the number being subtracted. So that's 2 plus a negative 8. Circle the sign that goes with the number. It's the sign right in front of the number. If there's no sign with the 2, we know to assume that's positive. Are those signs the same or are those signs different? Those signs are different, so I'll find the difference. 8 minus 2 is 6. Then I just decide, what do I have more of? So I have 2 positives. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. I'm like, oh, I definitely have more negatives. 2 positives and 2 negatives will zero each other out. How many negatives am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 negatives. And so my result is a negative 6. Hopefully you're getting a little bit more comfortable using the rules because we're going to be practicing with the rules. If you need to keep your number lines out to help you, go for it. I'm going to be focusing on the rules from this point forward. Have a good